Introduction to the Sixth Sense. So, some science journal, can't remember, others published a write-up on there being a sixth sense, and that sixth sense being proprioception. So, proprioception is an understanding of where you are in space. So that's why I know when my leg is under the table and can maneuver around and not hit the chair. And I thought about proprioception on an even much more intrinsic way, where it's where you are in space in terms of history, in terms of your lineage, in terms of where you are in, like, geographically, and that world lives in your imagination in a way, or where is it in your mind somewhere, where I can imagine me being in this house right now and where I am in relation to Swaimani, and think about where I am in relation to Pietermaritzburg. And like, the more you can stretch that out is interesting. That's why you can go to places and see a place twice, or drive around and see a place once and know that you've been there, or know how to go around. That is proprioception in a way as well. And I think about how that is disturbed by colonial things, by like how even we use language, and it's how we see ourselves in the world as well. That could be a part of proprioception. Yeah, well, so that's interesting, seeing that how that is disrupted by artificial things like that infringe on basic human rights, like land. Right now I'm looking at a view outside our door, and it's a landmark basically of our history, of dispossession as well, because the lines were drawn in the Land Acts and the segregations of Mzansi, where they said that out of 80% or 100% of land will have you in 20% of the land, and that's where you play, and that's what we see. That's what I'm seeing right now out my window, and that's like a pain that's held by so many people. And you have these things in conversations where even my history as well, where like someone would tell me about my great-grandfather or my grandfather, how they were moved from Gomsinga, and it's Hayabelungu, and you know, we just, yeah, it's just part of history. It's just part of the present as well, because we see it. And why do politics exist, you know? Because also, wouldn't that be something that's being dealt with? Because there's receipts. I mean, yeah, and it's interesting then psychologically thinking about where you are in space, where we are as people, and how we then fit into the world. Because now you, through even historical stuff like introduction of text, where John Rhodes would say that every person who's not working should pay £2 bondo, and then comes the land grabs, the cow grabs, because now that's what you have to pay because you don't have money. What is money? And now the migration of us moving to the Joburgs and the Kimberleys and whatever to work, having then being dispossessed and then have to go pay rent, pay taxes, pay rates, lana, bizayo, and all of that. Like, it's an interesting thought. And yeah, history has all the landmarks of why things are, and the present as well is a product of history, and so is the future as well. So you think about the idea of politics and in our times where Traore is taking over countries or political rule basically, and doing things that are contextual to history and reality in the present. Yeah, I believe in that, and I think that as the world goes, how my predictions or how others as well see it is that tech guys at some point will, or even brands, could be next in line, because in terms of ruling the world in a way, because there were kings before and some other places now, landowners first, churches. Yeah, what's new now? I think so. Tech guys, brands, and maybe artists as well. And that's why like us creating stuff is important. Me doing Suave is super important. Us collaborating, you doing music, everything, because we're undergoing a renaissance, and it's to be a bystander is hectic. Yeah, boy, you just get knocked out, and yeah, for us changing the dynamics for ourselves, I see like the culture here where people grew up, even myself grew up to parents or great or grandparents that were farmers and working the land, and using that for sustenance, income as well. And you get people here, or the culture is we drink instead, and don't do that, don't do the farming, and don't have the culture of it, and understanding intrinsically that the soil and people, community is not just about drinking together only. Yeah, but because there's then this idea of jobs that even though you have the resources of land, even though displaced, but still having access, that you need a job to make something progress and not use something or your skill. I've seen that even in myself, where things that I'm interested in or that I'm passionate about, not using that as a means to an end, and thinking about just my job as an analyst as a way to make things pop, because me shifting the mindset of the value that I have or can create from a 9 to 5 to a 24/7 is different. So yeah, I even did a song as well where I was saying 9 to 5 is revise my deal.